What if everything you thought about change was backwards? What if the reason your life feels stuck is not because you are failing, but because you are succeeding at the wrong patterns? What if the very routines you think are harmless are quietly shaping your identity, deciding your future, and most of all, quietly locking you into outcomes you never intended? The world tells you to chase motivation, to go big, to break habits dramatically. But the truth is far stranger and far more powerful. Real transformation does not arrive in grand gestures. It arrives in the invisible, silent choices you make every day, in the moments so small you almost forget they happened. Yet they quietly build the person you are becoming. Every day, you perform hundreds of actions that feel trivial. You check your phone first thing in the morning instead of focusing on yourself. You skip the small, seemingly insignificant steps that could anchor your day. You respond emotionally rather than intentionally. You scroll, procrastinate, and avoid discomfort. Each of these choices casts a vote. Each vote stacks invisibly until it defines the very structure of your life. Most people never realize how powerful these micro-decisions are because they are invisible, uncelebrated, and underestimated. Yet they determine the trajectory of your entire life. Let's step into a real-life example. Imagine a young professional, ambitious, full of dreams, yet always tired, always distracted. She wakes up, grabs her phone, scrolls through notifications, skips breakfast, and rushes out to work. She tells herself she will start eating healthier next week, exercising tomorrow, or saving more money someday. Every day, the small habits she ignores pile up, shaping her identity into someone who procrastinates, avoids discomfort, and sacrifices long-term gains for short-term comfort. Months and years pass, and she wonders why she hasn't grown. The truth is clear. The tiny invisible choices she made every day quietly became her life. Your life is like a vast network of invisible roads. Each action you repeat is like walking the same road. The problem is not the road. The problem is the pattern. Most people walk the same familiar paths because the mind craves comfort, even when comfort limits growth. Every step along the same path feels safe, yet it produces stagnation. The magic of real transformation is that you do not need to run faster on the same road. You need to take a different road, even if the first step is almost invisible, even if it feels too small to matter. Identity is the hidden variable that controls everything. You do not act your way into new habits. You become the person capable of those actions first. Every repeated choice signals to your brain who you are. A person who reads one page consistently becomes a learner. A person who exercises one push-up consistently becomes someone who cares about their health. A person who saves one small amount consistently becomes someone who respects their future. The repeated micro-actions, though unnoticed, create a new self-image. And once that identity solidifies, the actions naturally follow. Consider the analogy of a tree. Most people admire the leaves, the height, or the beauty. Yet none of that matters without strong roots. Your habits are the roots of your life. Invisible, often overlooked, yet holding everything together. A single destructive habit may not topple you immediately, but repeated over time, it weakens the roots. Similarly, a single positive habit may seem small, yet when repeated consistently, it strengthens your identity until growth becomes inevitable. The mind is wired to resist change, not because you lack discipline, but because it protects familiarity. This is why we overestimate motivation and underestimate systems. Systems, not willpower, determine outcomes. When you design your environment to support the behaviors you want, when you remove friction for good choices and increase friction for destructive ones, transformation becomes natural. Momentum replaces effort. Growth becomes automatic. Most people fail because they try to rely on willpower in an environment that encourages the exact opposite behavior they want. Here is another example. A man wants to get healthier. He buys expensive equipment. He dreams of running a marathon. He subscribes to fitness apps. Yet he never sets up his environment for success. The running shoes stay in the closet. The gym bag remains empty. And the first small actions needed to form a routine never happen. He blames motivation. He blames discipline. But the real failure is invisible. He never created a system that made healthy actions the path of least resistance. When small wins are designed into your life, change becomes inevitable. When they are not, effort alone is a battle you are destined to lose. Emotions are another invisible driver. The way you respond to boredom, stress, fear, or frustration determines whether you take aligned action or drift into distraction. Most failures are emotional, not structural. People react impulsively without realizing how emotional patterns shape behavior. Learning to pause, reflect, and redirect responses is more powerful than any dramatic act of willpower. Emotional habits, when consciously cultivated, become automatic pathways to resilience, discipline, and long-term success. Compounding is the hidden force few understand. A 1% improvement, repeated daily, accumulates into extraordinary results. Conversely, 1% decline, ignored, compounds into stagnation and frustration. Imagine saving just $1 more every day. It seems insignificant, but over months, it grows into a meaningful sum. Imagine reading one extra page daily. Over years, it becomes dozens of books. Tiny actions, repeated consistently, quietly, and relentlessly reshape reality. Most people underestimate compounding because it is invisible, gradual, and patient, but its effects are unstoppable once realized. Let's bring this closer to your daily life. Every morning you wake up, every conversation you have, every micro decision you make, all carry the power to reinforce your desired identity or your current limitations. The truth is uncomfortable. Change is not about dramatic effort. It is about invisible accumulation. It is about showing up consistently, even when no one notices, even when results are not yet visible, even when the action seems trivial. This is the real science of transformation. Your environment is the silent architect of your behavior, not just physical surroundings, but digital, emotional, social, and mental landscapes. The people you spend time with, the media you consume, the objects you interact with, all reinforce patterns. Negative, distracting, or indulgent environments make transformation nearly impossible. Curate your environment with intention. Make alignment effortless. Make distraction costly. Momentum becomes natural when your surroundings reinforce your desired actions. Consider a subtle but powerful habit: journaling for just 5 minutes a day. At first, it seems meaningless, yet over time, it reshapes self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and clarity of decision-making. Your identity begins to shift from reactive to intentional. This is not hype. This is behavioral science. The small, invisible actions, repeated with consistency, create identity shifts that then produce visible results in every area of life. Now imagine your life 5 years from now if you start today. Every small choice stacks. Every positive action compounds. Every intentional micro-decision builds momentum. You do not need to overhaul your life. You only need to begin in a way that your mind can accept, a way that the brain will not resist. One page, one push-up, one conscious breath, one small alignment, repeated consistently, is enough to begin the journey. The invisible architecture of your life begins to solidify. Transformation is not dramatic. It is invisible, subtle, and relentless. You do not need heroism. You need patience. You need awareness. You need consistency. You need tiny, deliberate actions, repeated until they are automatic. You need your environment to support them. You need your emotional habits to align. You need to vote for the person you want to become every single day. Quietly, intentionally, invisibly. This is the truth about human behavior that most people ignore while chasing motivation, quick hacks, and sudden inspiration. And finally, remember this: your life is not determined by what you try, or even by what you want. It is determined by what you do consistently, especially when no one is watching. The choices you ignore, the routines you skip, the impulses you indulge, all of these quietly shape the person you will be. Align your invisible habits with your vision. Protect them, nurture them, repeat them, and eventually, the transformation will arrive. Not as a spectacle, not as fireworks, but as the undeniable reality of a life reshaped from the invisible upward. If this perspective has shifted your thinking, if it has made you see your daily choices in a new light, then like this video, comment your thoughts below, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Your future, your identity, and your next chapter begin with the smallest, most intentional action you choose today.